Quick couple comments about the three departments that are being shut down. So 75% of the government is not being shut down. 25% of it is. So what are these jobs? What is the 25%? The three departments that I read that were shut down was Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Agriculture. So what are those three different departments? What do they do? A little bit of information about each one of them. Homeland Security is a cabinet department, right? The president has a cabinet, and so they have a court, and then the cabinet, you know, the head, the chair, is going to be responsible for all that. That's Kirstjen Nielsen. Kirstjen Nielsen was the head of the Homeland Security Department today. She's the one that keeps saying, well, they're illegal. They crossed illegally. So therefore, who gives a shit about, right, Jacqueline and Felix for dying, these Guatemalan kids? So Homeland Security, they're all part of the U.S. federal government. The Homeland Security is a cabinet department. The Homeland Security is kind of like the Department of the Interior, so is the Department of Justice. Homeland Security handles terrorism. They handle border security, the Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and Immigration and Customs. So two different customs, right? So both CBP and ICE, Immigration and Customs, ICE, and Border Patrol are part of Homeland Security. Also cyber security and disaster prevention and management. So disaster prevention, management. So I guess, is that FEMA? So Homeland Security. Homeland Security was created as a response to the 9/11 attacks. So it handles terrorism, border security, immigration and customs, cybersecurity, disaster prevention and management. 229,000 employees, $41 billion budget. Kirstjen Nielsen is the head. Department of Justice. This is the enforcement of law and the administration of justice, formed during the U.S. Grant Administration in 1870. This cost the American taxpayer $31 billion per year. So Homeland Security is $41 billion, Department of Justice was $31 billion, and then the Department of Agriculture is $151 or $41 billion. I got two numbers there. The majority of the $141 billion, I think it's 141, 4 and 5 just so close together. But if you just had to cut one of those departments by just total amount, you'd have to cut Department of Agriculture, then you would have to cut Homeland Security. But both Homeland Security and Department of Justice don't equal the Department of Agriculture. So what the hell? What is agriculture? What costs so much money? Well, let's talk about the Department of Justice. So 229,000 employees versus 114,000 employees. So even though Homeland Security has just barely, like, it doesn't matter. It has like $41 billion of 31. That means they're, what, 133% of the budget versus twice the amount of employees. So you actually get more bang for your buck in the employee versus money ratio. There's 114,000 employees. The Department of Justice runs the FBI, ATF, DEA. It investigates financial fraud. It represents the U.S. in front of the Supreme Court, runs the federal prison system. Department also reviews local law enforcement as directed by the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994. The department is headed by the Attorney General, who is nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate. It's a member of the Cabinet. Matthew Whitaker is the acting Attorney General right now. So the acting Attorney General. So that meant that you had that little troll, that little tiny, what's his name? He was in there for a second. He was the Attorney General. He was in charge of the FBI, the ATF, and the DEA, and also investigating financial fraud and all that stuff. Running the federal prison system, representing the U.S. in front of the Supreme Court, reviewing law enforcement, local law enforcement. What was Jeff Sessions? Jeff Sessions was controlling the FBI, ATF, and DEA for a while. Now it's Matthew Whitaker. He's the acting Attorney General. So what? The Department of Agriculture is formed by Abraham Lincoln in 1862. They employ 106,000 employees. So Homeland Security hires the most employees, and then Department of Justice 114,000, and then Department of Agriculture 106,000. So Homeland Security has 229,000 employees. I don't know exactly. I mean, just jobs are good, but government jobs are a little bit different. If we're just doing public works projects, you can't just create jobs just to be creating jobs. I want jobs that actually do shit, and it's good for the people. Don't just oppress the people. So a lot of this Homeland Security, Department of Justice as oppression, Department of Agriculture, they have to deal with farming, forestry, and food. So the 3 Fs, farming, forestry, and food. The forest and the farms and the food. So the Food and Nutrition Service, most of it goes to the food stamps, okay? Let's be honest. Department of Agriculture, they're the ones that provide the food for the children. So in all the public schools, the Department of Agriculture is providing food for all the kids, especially the free and reduced lunch kids. So for the middle, high, and elementary schools, Department of Agriculture is giving all the, and then all the food stamp food is Department of Agriculture too, so it's all the federal government. Sonny Perdue runs the Department of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. So it says 80% of the $141 billion go to the food stamps. So most of it goes to the food, to the schools, and to the people. So that's the 3 departments. So I guess Donald Trump has a problem with fucking food stamps, okay? So we're going to shut down the Department of Agriculture, Farming, Forestry, Food. It seems like pretty important stuff. Department of Justice and Homeland Security, I can actually feel with him on some of that. So he's probably getting the stuff that he doesn't like cut out. The FBI's been fucked with him the whole time, so why should he finance the Department of Justice when, you know, they are gunning for him? And, you know, I guess in a way, once they acquit him and once he gets away, you know, with everything that he had done or whatever, that they're saying that he did, then it'll be a good thing, right? Then, oh, he's got a clean bill of health. He put himself before this investigation, and he is as clean as a whistle. But also, since this investigation is right up on his ass, he could, you know, when he becomes a private citizen, they can hit him with a bunch of things. But Nixon said if you're president, it's not illegal. So that this might actually make Donald Trump fight for his second term. Even if he gets out of Syria, he's getting out of Syria, so that's a good thing. But the Jacqueline and Felix dying isn't a good thing. So Department of Justice, right, the ATF, the federal prison system, they just did the criminal justice bill, which is just minor little tiny shit. They barely changed it. They just want to do something, so they say that they're doing something that represents the beginning. Oh, it represents the beginning. But it doesn't really change the broader policies. Just tiny little housekeeping bullshit. So yeah, there's a Department of Justice, Department of Agriculture, Homeland Security, that's Border Patrol and ICE. And it was created as a response to the 9/11 attacks, so actually I really have sort of a gut reaction against Homeland Security, because that's when we went to Iraq, and that was the Patriot Act, and then Homeland Security, it was like 1, 2, 3, we just kept getting hit over the head with all this brand new shit. And it was like, the Homeland Security idea was just so that law enforcement agencies could pass information out better. But we also had a Department of Justice, so it was kind of like, why do we need another department, you know, 2 whole departments? So, yeah, those are the 3. Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and Department of Agriculture. Do I want to say anything else? No, I'll come back. I am a hippie. I'm a hippie, I'm an Occupy, I'm left libertarian, I'm a White Panther, I'm Antifa, I'm anti-fascist, anti-war, anti-Nazi, anti-Confederate, I'm a free speech champion. I love freedom, independence, autonomy, I'm for peace, love, justice, freedom, and I'm isolationist. I'm anti-war, I believe in America first, bring all of our boys home, spend that $1 trillion on America, fiber optics, Wi-Fi, so we're all get hooked up to the internet. Let's just educate ourselves off the internet. We could just cut out all the education, cut all the schooling out, and give everybody internet. I'm an atheist, I'm an anti-theist. Religion is a net negative. Give me honesty, give me truth. Fuck all the religions. Fuck all the religions in the world's bullshit. I'm an equalist. There's oppressors, and then there's their ass kissers, and then there's the equalist. I'm against hierarchy. I'm for democracy. I'm anti-hierarchy because hierarchy is the problem. I'm a member of civil society. I'm a revolutionary humanist, a progressive revolutionary. I believe in always improving, moving forward, making sure that the changes are positive. That's revolutionary. A chair, a fork is a positive change that completely changes everything, and it's a positive change. I'm the new left libertarian. I'm anarchist when the government doesn't want to help. The government is meant to help. If they don't help, then fuck the government. Family and Soviets and households are the building blocks of society. I'm a man of the male gender, matured. I'm a gentleman. I'm an anti-royalist. I'm pro-freedom and democracy. I believe in self-defense. I believe in goodness, righteousness, and justice. I believe in Maslow's hierarchy and the teaching pyramid. I'm a hippie because the hippies were for peace, love, and freedom. And they were about music and, you know, let's smoke weed and just chill out, man. It's all cool, right? The Woodstock give us could have been what America could have been. I'm a left libertarian, again, because I believe we should help the poor. There's people in this country that don't have a chance. If everybody has a chance, then I'd be more libertarian. I'm Occupy because I believe in the 99%. I'm Occupy because the public spaces should be ours. I'm the part of the 99%. And I'm a White Panther because the White Panther is the offshoot of the Black Panthers. Huey Newton says that we couldn't be Black Panthers if we had pale skin. But he said, why don't you go organize a bunch of righteous brothers and then come back? So that's what the White Panthers are. It seems like the only people that talk about white people are the racist, the Aryan Brotherhood, the fucking Klan, right? A bunch of racist pieces of shit, Nazis. So I think it's actually very important for white people to speak about it. I don't particularly like reinforcing the social construction of whiteness. I wish we could destroy whiteness, but so many people put that on me, and you know, it's not that I'm trying to nullify myself of, you know, the collective. What it is just that it's a dumb social construction. So I think that you have to attack racism. You have to attack institutional racism. That's one way to attack racism, but you could also attack racism right at its heart, right at the core. And right at the core is when people say, well, you're black, I'm white, you're black, you're brown, I'm white, I'm black, and we're different because of these reasons. So as soon as we make that distinction, as soon as we start to make that distinction, that's when you're a racialist. And then when you have a pejorative, when you make one of those groups, one of the groups that you don't want to be a part of. So those people over there. So that's when you turn, right, savages is how they dehumanize the Native Americans, the Anglo-Saxons, the whites of some of my ancestors. So if you want to get down to exactly who is to blame for what, you know what, I think it's just, you don't know the intersectionality of my life, and I guarantee you my life has been much more difficult than what you would have imagined. And I don't want to talk about it because you guys are assholes and y'all don't give a fuck, so. But that's my lesson. That's my lesson. Living in America, dog-eat-dog capitalist society, they'll chew you up and spit you out, and then a bunch of vultures will scavenge whatever is left of you. So, anyways, it's a little bit about me. Why don't you tell me a little bit about you?